Yeah.
It's okay.
Yep.
Good evening, councillors, executive and viewers on YouTube. My name is Darren Buzzard. I'm the CEO of Mount Alexander Shire. I'll come back to why I'm the opening this meeting a little bit later, but first may I acknowledge that we are meeting on Jarrah country, of which the members and elders of the Jarrah community and their forebears have been custodians for many centuries and have performed age-old ceremonies of celebration, initiation and renewal. We acknowledge their living culture and their unique role in the life of this region. Just to explain, council meetings are audio and video recorded and they are made available to the public via electronic media, including YouTube, as we're currently recording. The Local Government Act states that council meetings can be closed to the public during the prescribed period, which relates to, of course, the COVID situation, provided that it is live streamed and the community has been provided means to submit statements or questions for council response. We'll come back to that later on in public question time. And that's to ensure that local government decision making can continue and remains transparent during the coronavirus pandemic. Councillors and council staff are required to continue to act in accordance with the Councillors Code of Conduct and the Local Government Acts 1989 and 2020, local laws and other acts and policies as prescribed. Important to note that if there are technical difficulties in being able to broadcast the meeting to the public, the meeting will be adjourned for 30 minutes until the matter is resolved or postponed to 6 p.m. on the 1st of December 2020. I should explain, I acknowledge that all of the councillors are wearing masks at the moment, with the exception of myself, who, due to being the speaker at the moment, is not wearing one, so that will change a little bit later on. Councillors, I have a recommendation in front of you. Could I have a motion, please? Councillor Henderson.
Yes, I move the council closes the council meeting 24th of November 2020 under the Local Government Act 2020, Part 12, Section 395, and to note that where there are technical difficulties in being able to broadcast the meeting to the public, the meeting will be adjourned for 30 minutes until the issue is resolved or postponed to 6 p.m. on 1st of December 2020.
Thanks, Councillor Henderson. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Gardner. All those in favour? Carried. Thank you. Now, why am I chairing this meeting of councillors when I'm only the CEO? Because the Local Government Act requires that to be the case while there is no mayor in office, and that's precisely the purpose of the first part of this meeting, is to have a mayor elected by you councillors, as you know. So before we get into that, can I acknowledge that all councillors are present, as well as executive staff, and there are no apologies or leaves of absence, unless there's anybody wanting to signal some to be considered in future. No. Are there any declarations of interest and conflicts of interest, councillors? No? Thank you. Councillors, I note the section item 5 in the agenda, which relates to the oath or affirmation of office. I just want to read that out to confirm that what's required to have happened has happened. So under section 30 of the Local Government Act 2020, the person elected to be a councillor is not capable of acting as a councillor until the person has taken the oath or affirmation of office in the manner prescribed by the regulations. I want to confirm that councillors Anir, Cordy, Driscoll, Gardner, Henderson, Maltby and McClure took their oath of office before myself on the 10th of November 2020, and the evidence of that will be included in the minutes of this meeting, councillors, as required also by the Act. Item 6, councillors, is prior to making a decision on who will be the mayor, you are required to determine what the term for that mayoral role will be. Can I have a motion, please, councillors?
I would like to move the council elect the mayor and deputy mayor for a 1-year term.
Thanks, Councillor Anir. Do you have a second?
Yes, I do.
Thanks, Councillor Driscoll. All those in favour? Carried. Thank you. So now we come to the election of the mayor. Councillors, do I have a nomination? Councillor Henderson.
Yes, Mr. CEO, I move the Councillor-elect Councillor Tony Corley as the Mayor of the Mount Alexander Shire Council.
Thanks, Councillor Henderson. Councillor Corley, do you accept the nomination?
Happy to accept the nomination, thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Corley. Councillor Henderson. Are there any other nominations? Thank you, Councillor. With that, I declare that the Mayor for the coming 12 months for the Mount Alexander Shire Council is Councillor Tony Corley. I will invite Mayor Corley to make a few comments shortly, but first, councillors, was anybody wishing to say anything to Councillor Corley?
I'd like to start, CEO, by congratulating Councillor Corley on his election and say that after 6 years in the job, I think he's well timed to become the mayor, our next mayor, and I look forward to working around the table under his leadership. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Henderson. Does anybody else want to offer a comment? Councillor Gardner.
Yes, I'd like to congratulate Tony. I was pleased to support Tony. I think that it's important as a new council that we able to transition from the old to the new. I think Tony will do that. I'm also confident that as a team, hopefully he will pull us together over the next year. I'm really looking forward to that. And as an outer ward councillor, I'm hoping he'll also support some of the outer wards, and not just Castlemaine focus. So I'm really looking forward to your ahead with you, Tony, and good luck.
Thank you, Councillor Gardner. Did anyone else wish to speak? No, thank you. Mayor Corley, can I invite you to offer a few comments?
Thank you, CEO. First of all, I'd like to thank the new council for electing me to the position of mayor. I'd also like to thank the councillors from the last council, Councillor Max Lesser, Councillor John Neiman, Councillor Bronwyn Mason, Councillor Dave Trusma, have finished their term on council, but they're a fantastic council to work with, as well as the other ongoing councillors that are in the room. I'd also thank the former mayors that I have been on council and worked with over the past 6 years. Councillor Michael Redden, Councillor Sharon Telford, Councillor Bronwyn Mason, and Councillor Christine Henderson. I've learned so much from this group. They've been fantastic. I'd particularly like to note the work of Christine Henderson and Bronwyn Mason in their terms. Being the mayor looks very nice when things are going well, but there's always some issues that come up, particularly this last 12 months. We've had COVID, so it's been a very difficult time, but both Bronwyn and Christine, their work in that period that I've known them as councillors and mayors has been truly inspirational. So I thank them, and it's great. I feel very fortunate to have Christine working with me as in my year as mayor. I look forward to working with our CEO, Darren Fuzzard, directors Jess Howard and Lisa Knight. We're very fortunate to have a dedicated and knowledgeable staff, and I look forward to working with them over the next 4 years of the life of this council, not just the period that I'm mayor. This council will build on the excellent work of the previous council. We'll work together as a team. We'll enjoy robust debate to deliver the best possible decisions for our community. We'll consider the environment in everything we do, and certainly that's going to be a big focus of this new council. We'll consult with the community, and we'll continue to operate on an open and honest council that serves all of our community. special thank you to my wife and family for their support, and I look forward to working with all of you over the life of this council. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor. And before I hand over to you to run your meeting, we may just take a quick break for you to put on your mayoral robes.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah.
It's historic. Thank you, Councillor Driscoll.
Thank you, Mayor. It's now my pleasure to hand over to you to be the chair of your meeting and to introduce the outgoing mayor speaking for the next item.
Thanks, CEO. I'd like Councillor Christine Henderson, our former mayor, to give us her outgoing report. Thank you, Christine.
Thank you very much. Well, normally the mayor of the previous year talks about the highlights or the achievements of the council, the infrastructure, the decisions of social importance, the big things. Of course, last year was totally different. I started off the year very excitedly. We had a major forum for the community to talk to us about their concerns about climate change and the need to declare a climate emergency. It was a very passionate event involving almost 50 speakers over 12 hours. All councillors sat in this chamber listening. People came and went. It was an open forum. And at the December meeting, council declared a climate emergency. So that's big. Hot on the heels of that, sorry about the pun, were the horrendous fires across Victoria and New South Wales in December and in January. And the year was going to be a big year. And then we started hearing about a certain city in China called Wuhan and a novel coronavirus. And in January, February, while budget talks began around the council table, we heard that the city of Wuhan had gone into lockdown. That seemed pretty extreme, but hot on the heels of that, in March and April, the pandemic arrived in Australia, and it was first of all declared a pandemic by the World Health Organization, spread from country to country. Australia became infected, and we had the first lockdown of Victoria. Was work from home, was the instructions given, and I think this council organisation, within 4 days, every council officer was working from home, effectively linked to the council network on suitable technology. It was very impressive. We had essential workers in the building only, and the rest were working from home. In fact, some have only just started visiting us again, and yet we've seen her on the screen at least once a week, every week since then. That would be our director of corporate and community affairs, Lisa Knight. Good to see you in the room, Lisa. We've had Zoom meetings for the go for councillors every week. I got quite good at chairing a meeting with a mosaic of faces on the screen. In fact, it was quite easy to keep order compared to around the table. Some cases you always switch somebody off if they're talking too much. But the big shock for the mayor was that my diary was empty of any community events, any occasions to attend. Where normally the mayor would expect to attend at least 2 events a week. Everything was cancelled. It was really sad. By May and June, we were opening up a bit, Council redid its budget in response to the needs brought on by the pandemic and its impact on our community. And there were some highlights. So money started flowing in Harcourt. There was state money to the female friendly and the new change rooms for the reserve, fantastic. And actually extra money, top up money, so we could build the extra big tower in the play space, which had been demanded by the community. That was exciting. And federal grant money arrived at 1.08 million for building roads and local infrastructure out of the sky, stimulus money, very exciting. But the big exciting thing, and I've got the timeline right in all these, was the $4.5 million for Malvern. At last we could put the power underground. That has been going as long as I've been a councillor and well before, so it was fantastic news. And I have to go and congratulate our Councillor Gardner for his work with the community in all the negotiations, actually, the nitty-gritty of how that's going to happen for the community. And so that's exciting. Then in July, just as we were sort of coping with ongoing COVID things, we had an outbreak at Don KR. I was scared. I was very scared. I thought, I've been hearing about meatworks in Melbourne, meatworks and other places. Here it was the biggest meatworks in the state, if not in the country, meat processing plants, and it was happening here in Castlemaine. We had the potential to have a major outbreak. I think it went up to 7 in total, was it? The response was phenomenal. The instant testing of all workers within, I think, 48 hours or less, over 2 sites or 3 sites. The whole place was shut down. There was contact tracing of the initial group, and miraculously, they contained it. They contained it. That could have been a very different story for Castlemaine, for Mount Alexander Shire, for the whole state. So that was a great relief. We had an incident control centre set up, and it was cross-party, cross-organisation work there to contain it. By August, the whole state went into a second lockdown, bigger than the first, 100 days. Everyone was expected to work from home, to go out, only 4 reasons to go out. Melbourne was particularly constrained. We had 725 new cases per day. We were getting very worried. Everyone got good at making masks, wearing masks. We got used to the 4 square metre rule. Cafes, restaurants were all takeaway only. Weddings, accommodation all closed down. Some businesses were booming. Hardware stores were doing very well. Bike stores, fantastic. Art shop was doing well, but others were suffering. The planning department was very busy. And so it was a very strange year. And then along came the election in October. And again, council candidates were unable to campaign as usual, but now we have around the table 4 new councillors. So congratulations to those who made it. And I have to say that the council that came together in the second half of last term, because there were some changes, was a great mix of people who managed to listen and talk and work together in a very dynamic and respectful way. And I'd say there'd be a hard act to follow, but early signs are very encouraging. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Henderson. Just before we go on, I've got a little award here for Councillor Henderson. It's not my own handiwork, actually. It's an award from the Municipal Association of Victoria, and it's a certificate recognising Councillor Henderson's 3 terms as Mayor, and she's now Mayor Emeritus. Certificate of Outstanding Services. So, Christine, if you'd like to come around. So that's an award from the Municipal Association of Victoria, which is the peak body that represents all councils and does a lot of work in the local government sphere, and it's a very highly regarded award. So congratulations, Christine, and Thank you for your great work. Okay, next item of business. Now we've got a councillor chairperson. We'll move on. Is the election of deputy mayor. Councillors, do I have a nomination? Councillor McClure.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'd like to move that the council elects Councillor Bill Maltby as Deputy Mayor of the Mount Alexander Shire Council for the mayoral term, and the Deputy Mayor may exercise any of the powers of the Mayor if A, the Mayor is unable for any reason to attend a council meeting or part of a council meeting, or B, the Mayor is incapable of performing the duties of the office of Mayor or for any reason, including illness, or C, the office of Mayor is vacant in accordance with Section 21 of the Local Government Act 2020 during the absences of the Mayor.
Thank you for that nomination, Councillor McClure. Councillor Maltby, do you accept the nomination?
I do, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Maltby. Are there any further nominations for Deputy Mayor, councillors? Okay, everyone's silent, so I take it no other nominations. I therefore declare Councillor Maltby as the Deputy Mayor for the next year. Congratulations, Councillor Maltby. Would you like to say a few words, or we do the we open it up to the other councillors. They know you quite well, so we get them to say a few words first. Thank you.
Would be dangerous. Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'd just like to confirm why I moved Bill into this job. Bill's had experiences in the mayoral role, not true, a fair few years ago, but I'm sure he's had experience in that role, so I think he would be a good deputy mayor. Thank you. Thanks, Mayor.
Thanks for that, Councillor McClure. Does anyone else want to say a comment? Yes, Councillor Driscoll.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to congratulate Bill. He's got done a lot of work for many years at the local community. He's a good man, and I think he'll do a good job. Well done, Bill.
Thanks for that, Councillor Driscoll. Any further comments, councillors? If not, I'll hand over to Councillor Maltby to say a few words. Well done, Bill.
Thanks, Councillor Cordy. Firstly, thank you to my fellow councillors for electing me as the Deputy Mayor. I wish Councillor Cordy a successful year in his role as Mayor, and he could be assured that if he needs my assistance, I'm here. I might just say, and thanks Gary and Matt for those nice words, when I was Mayor, it was 1986, I was 26. It was a learning experience, one where the community had great respect for the Mayor, the position, the council and the councillors. I'm sure that as we move forward, more of the community will show that respect back that may have been missing in the last 10 to 15 years. And that's no disrespect to people performing duties, but the community was a bit out there at one or two times. But anyway, I know that as a team we will work together and achieve the best for the Shire. Thank you.
Thanks for that, Councillor Maltby. Okay, councillors, we'll move on to item 10 on the agenda, confirmation of minutes. The unconfirmed minutes of the ordinary meeting of the Mount Alexander Shire Council held at 6:30 on 20th October 2020 have been circulated. So, councillors, do I have a motion, please? Councillor Garden?
It has to be one of us. Yeah, as printed, Tony.
Thank you, Councillor Gardner. Have a second, please. Councillor Henderson? Thank you very much. All in favour? Passed. Thank you. Now move on to public question time. Unfortunately, the public are not able to attend the council meeting at this time, but we have received 3 written submissions and we'll deal with them in turn. The first one is from former councillor Robin Taylor, and it goes as follows. His email to our governance people goes as follows. My question for 24th November meeting. I request that council review the planned replacement of the 2 bridges in Prize Road, Campbell's Creek. Council insists on calling them bridges when they're really culverts. Both are 3 metres wide with stone walls and abutment built about 1870. They currently have a load limit of 25 tonne. The legal load on a triaxle setup is 21.5 tonne. Due to the width of the bridge, 3 metres, it's impossible to get more than the legal axle setup on the bridge at one time. That's fair enough. The Council Commission Maloney report from 2014 stated these bridges did not need replacing. To quote the email, it's not rocket science, apply some common sense. Robert Taylor. Okay, I'd like to refer this matter to our Director of Infrastructure, Jess Howard. If you could respond, please, Jess. Thank you.
Thanks, Mayor, and thanks to Mr. Taylor for his question. In relation to the need to replace these bridges, a more recent review than the one referenced by Mr. Taylor noted that these 2 bridges were amongst the highest risk bridges in the municipality and needed to be replaced. And on that basis, Council determined to proceed with this project. A contract has been issued, and in terms of some of the matters that Mr. Taylor raises, that contract will now see more detailed design work be done ahead of the construction of the project. They will be box culverts that are used to replace the current structures that are there. The heritage rocks or blocks that are referenced will be salvaged as part of the agreement, and they'll be stored and made available for future reuse, ideally in the Campbell's Creek area, noting their heritage value and significance. Another element of this that has also been raised with council officers and with councillors is about pedestrian safety in the area, and part of this project will also include looking at the design of pedestrian bridges alongside those culvert structures. So hopefully that addresses Mr. Taylor's concerns.
Thanks very much for that, Director Howard. Okay, we'll move on to the other 2, and they both relate to the same matter, so I'll read them both out. From Sally Captain. From the Concerned Neighbourhood Group, signatories to the recent petition represented by Sally Captain and Alice Matheson. Where are the no parking signs that Council committed to months ago? Council said there will be no parking on the privately developed public land on Heritage Overlay 668 in front of 37 Farnsworth Street, as they are where parking is a daily occurrence. Will Council stand by its assurance that the top surface of the walking path be reduced to natural ground level as part of the remediation? How will Council build in robust protections of public land and heritage overlays against future road private development? So that one is from Alice Matheson, sorry. So the second one is from our friend Chris Hosking. Hi there. It is well documented that the site of the minor works on Crown land at 37 Farnsworth Street is being used as a car park without the necessary permits. What is Council doing that will prevent this, and who is legally responsible for that site? Chris Hosking. Thank you, Director Howard. If you could give us a response to those matters, that would be excellent.
Thank you, Mayor. In relation to the first question, which relates to parking on the area of Farnsworth Street, this has been a matter raised by residents with council over a period of time now in terms of concerns about the use of the additional turning circle area for parking. As has been communicated previously, council has very clearly communicated with the owner of the residents that that area is to be used for driveway access and not for parking, and the owner has committed to not use it for parking, particularly not regularly. I note that that the owner has been complying with that commitment, although in recent times there has been tradespeople present on the site that has meant that there's been some cars out on the street while some fencing work's been undertaken. But the owner's been reminded of the requirement to not park in this area. In terms of the second question around reinstatement of the walking path and making the area more level, as part of the rectification works that the owner needs to take to reduce the fill area, this will be addressed, including potentially considering putting some stone steps in to assist with access, similar to those that are in place further down on the Farnsworth Street Road Reserve towards the Brown Street corner in front of some other residences where there's some landscaping of the road reserve. As part of that, there will also be the need to maintain the access that the postman uses. Obviously, the steps won't be great for the postman's bike, so that will also be accommodated, and the details of that are still being worked through. The third question is around heritage overlays and how council will make sure that these things are considered in future similar applications. And as has been previously communicated, this particular matter has led us to have a look at whether there is anything that we can do to further strengthen the way that we assess minor works permits in the road reserve. And as part of that, we will be updating our documentation and procedure where appropriate to seek perhaps further information about overlays, further information about detailed engineering plans if needed, and making that a bit clearer from the very outset, including internal referral processes and making that a little bit clearer that that could be part of the process, standardising what is current practice.
Thanks for that, Director Howard. Appreciate it. Okay, that concludes public question time. We'll move on to petitions and joint letters from Ms. Nill. Committee reports, item 14, and Ms. Nill. Under 15.1, our people, 15.1.1, citizenship dress code policy. In line with the Australian Citizenship Ceremonies Code 2019, the code, council is required to adopt a citizenship dress code policy. The policy is to provide guidance on the appropriate attire of attendees at citizenship ceremonies, noting that it should reflect the significance of the occasion. Councils must provide a current copy of the policy to the Department of Home Affairs. Councillors, do I have a recommendation, please? Councillor Henderson, have a recommendation.
I'd like to move the motion. Thank you, Mayor. I move the council adopts the citizenship dress code policy, removing the word thongs from the list of not permitted attire, and forwards as a copy of the Department of Home Affairs as required by the Citizenship Australia Citizenship Ceremony Code 2019.
Councillors, do I have a seconder? Councillor Gardner.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Councillor Gardner. Are there any objections to the motion? No objections?
Come on, object.
Would you like to speak to the motion before we have a vote? Councillor Henderson.
Thank you, Matt. Look, I think it's really important that we have a ceremony dress code, a citizenship ceremony dress code of all the duties of the mayor. And I did miss in my report that we did actually manage to have an Australia Day ceremony where there was a significant citizenship ceremony held, and I was very honoured to be because it is one of the duties specifically of the mayor to confer citizenship upon citizens. I was very honoured that we had that ceremony in Victory Park as part of our Australia Day celebrations and other occasions, and certainly one does expect future citizens to dress appropriately at such a solemn and special occasion. However, and I see that we have this, we do not allow beach wear, okay? We don't have a beach on which to award citizenship, but even if we did, I expect people to be dressed otherwise in their beach wear. No slippers, thank you. Sleepwear, inappropriate. Sports apparel, no. All fancy dress costumes, definitely not. And probably not bare feet unless it's part of your national/traditional/cultural attire. However, thongs have moved on, I think, a bit from when certain members of our federal government were wearing them back in their youth, and in fact they are a recognised fashion item. It is still possible to acquire thongs for a few dollars from the right shops. However, one could also purchase a very smart pair of thongs for quite a lot of money, and they are appropriate wear in summer for those who choose to wear them. And I would say mainly females, but then some men might do. And I think it's unfair and inappropriate to add them to the list of not permitted attire. So I urge my fellow councillors to support this motion while recognising the importance of having this citizenship ceremony dress code to not discriminate against those people who like wearing smart, we expect, thongs during the summer. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Henderson. Councillor Gardner, a seconder, would you like to add anything further?
Oh, well, I've got to say something. I think Councillor Henderson summed it up quite well. Look, I mean, really, banning thongs on what is an Australian citizenship thing seemed to be silly to me, so what's more Australian thongs?
Thanks, Councillor Gardner. Does anyone else wish to speak? No, that's great. Thank you. Declare the matter carried. Moving along to 15.2, our place. 15.2.1, response to petition sealing of Eleanor Drive. Council received a petition on 15th September 2020 containing 82 signatures with at least 10 signatures from within the affected area. The petition requested that Council seal the unsealed section of Eleanor Drive in Campbell's Creek prior to commencing bridge works on 2 bridges on Campbell's Creek Friars Road. Okay, councillors, do I have a motion? Councillor Maltby.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. I'll move that council notes that Eleanor Drive will be sealed prior to commencing bridge construction works on the Campbell's Creek Friars Road. And 2, the council responds to the first signatory on the petition to advise them of the outcome of this report.
Thank you, Councillor Maltby. Councillors, do I have a seconder? Councillor Anir. Any objections? Councillor Maltby, would you like to speak to your motion?
Thank you. It's probably timely that it happened anyway. The Shire of Newstead, back when that Eleanor Drive subdivision happened, should have sealed the roads or had the developer seal them. So, because there is other works happening in Campbell's Creek now, something that's 20 years behind time will happen. Thank you.
Thanks for that, Councillor Maltby. Councillor Anir, would you like to comment?
No.
Any other councillors wish to add anything? Councillor Henderson.
No, I'm out of the chair, I'm going to speak all the time.
Oh, no.
I almost just played the devil too. I was going to oppose this motion. I think it's great that Eleanor Drive is being settled, apart from the fact my hairdresser won't like it. But look, majority of residents on that road put forward a very reasonable petition, led by one of our ex-journalists. And I thought this was well done, it was respectful. I didn't think the people signing it who lived in other parts of the state were necessarily needed, but there were certainly enough locals to make it a genuine petition. And I'm really proud of our infrastructure department coming up with this outcome, which I believe is all part of the good deal we've got on the bridges. They've looked at it in a very holistic way. They've recognised that there's a road that was long overdue for sealing. And look, it's not Butterworth Street. No one's. Last year the trouble was that we were trying to put forward a case, or our officers were trying to put forward a case for sealing another street within the town, and there was large opposition from certain of the residents who did not want it sealed. So I think that Eleanor Drive, there will be, if not dancing in the streets, certain amount of celebration there. But be warned, we have quite a few very dusty roads in my part of the Shire, and I just hope that my local residents aren't going to see this and say, aha, Old Drummond Road, anyone? Phillips Road? Potts Road? Anyway, well done, thank you.
Thanks for that, Councillor Henderson. Okay, there being no objections to that, that matter's carried. So we'll move on. Delegates' reports. CEO, would you like to talk to yours?
Thanks very much, Mayor. Councillors, as usual, as returning councillors know, I provide a list of the meetings that the Mayor and myself have attended in between meetings. So this one is from the 21st of October to today, the 24th of November. And as you'll appreciate, we essentially haven't had a Mayor for just about all of that time. So that's why you see that there are no ticks in the Mayor's column in this particular report. Before I go on to just picking up a couple of the items in my section, councillors, can I just say also on behalf of all the staff, Mayor Corey, a big congratulations and thank you to former Mayor Henderson for her work over the last 12 months. It has been an absolute pleasure working with you, Mayor. Thank you for your leadership of the organisation as well as around this table. Very much appreciated. You're very generous with your time. It's been a difficult time to be able to get to provide your access to not only the community but the staff as well. But you always try to do that whenever you can. We really appreciate that from you. So thank you and congratulations again on a wonderful 12 months as our Mayor. Moving into my list, it's also been a fairly quiet time from my perspective because there's limited things that we're allowed to do also, or choosing to have limited time in the public while there's a thing called an election occurring and not having a council effectively in place for most of that time as well, being mindful that you make the significant decisions and I carry them out. So a bit of a limited list for me this month, but I did want to pick up on two. There's some councillors will be aware that I'm one of the CEO members of the Loddon Campaspe Regional Partnerships, which is a state government initiative that's been going for quite some time. All of the CEOs of the region sit on that, as well as a number of community representatives. And that meeting reminded me of something that was announced today by the state government in regard to the VCAL program, that it is going to be phased out over the next few years. And we felt that was in no small part because of the work that was done by the regional partnerships with young people in our region to understand education desires from their perspective and what makes them do some things and makes them not do other things. And there's no question from the research that we did, and there's a great paper that's available on this, that young people felt that there was still a stigma attached to doing something called a VCAL program. And that was written very strongly to the chair who did the review of what should happen with, is it called VCE still? VCE and VCAL programs. And we certainly felt very pleased to see that there was a great response to that by the government announced today. But we'll see that phase out. The other one I wanted to mention was the meeting that Director Howard and I had recently, and other staff had with Regional Roads Victoria. We talked about a variety of matters about work that's going on, but one that's quite dear to my heart, as some of the former councillors know, is getting that pedestrian crossing installed in Barker Street. And I was very pleased to hear that Vic Roads reiterated its commitment to not only get that done, but they're making very good progress on the design work for that project. So sooner rather than later, we're hoping to be able to sign a contract for the construction of that pedestrian crossing somewhere up near Parker Street, with that final detail still to be resolved. I'll leave it there, Mayor, if you like, but happy to answer any questions as always.
Thank you, Mr. Councillor. Councillor Gardner, would you like to ask?
Yes, please. So Darren, I noticed you met twice in the month about the Mount Alexander Health and Wellbeing Hub. Is there any updates you can provide on what's going on there?
Sure. There's two levels that those meetings operate on, Councillor Gardner. There's a meeting of the entire steering committee, which is made up of board members of Castlemaine Health and CDCH or CHIRP, as well as the Mayor and myself, and the other two CEOs as well. That's one of the meetings, and the other meeting related to the CEOs who we meet in relation to that project, but we've been meeting for 3 or 4 years in relation to generally seeing how can we do things better together, how can we support each other more, and as a result of that, we've certainly offered some of our support services to at least one of those parties in the past, and likewise we've found new initiatives to be able to do together. That's what the two meetings were about. In relation to the health precinct or health hub project, because there are two, there's a health hub project and there's a health precinct project. We do have money provided by the state government to progress the health hub master plan. The health hub incorporates substantially Castlemaine Health Services and CDCH or CHIRP services, with a potential for some council services to be included in that picture as well. That's, we believe, and we've believed this for quite some time, I have to say, but we believe that master plan process will start up soon. We're just waiting for that to be confirmed by DHHS, who is actually running that process, and we're members of the steering committee for that. So we're expecting it to start soon. As councillors, some councillors would appreciate, our view is it's a much bigger question than what I just described as the health hub. We believe a health precinct is what this community needs, which incorporates much more thought about what are the council services that could also be included in that mix that would together create a better benefit for the community than having them disparate as they are at the moment, both physically and also practically speaking from a who does what perspective. So we're still working on that latter part. We're still, and Marie Edwards is certainly very supportive of us trying to push that agenda. We're yet to get that one locked away, but we're still pushing on that, and we certainly aren't going to let it go.
Thanks, CEO. Councillor Henderson, have you got a question?
About the, thank you, CEO, I was just wondering about the crossing on Barker Street. You're talking about design, we're progressing. Is it Regional Roads Victoria who will decide the location of the crossing? Do we have any input to that? I know there's a variety of views among the community about exactly where it should go.
Thanks, Councillor Henderson. We've made it very clear why we asked nicely for Vic Roads or Regional Roads Victoria to deliver the project for us. We were quite clear that it's your money, councillors, and we want to make a call on where that goes. At the same time, we appreciated Vic Roads' view that there are technical reasons why some locations are better or safer than others. So we're working through that process at the moment. Vic Roads has respected that we want it in very close proximity to the Parker and Barker intersection, but exactly where that might be is a matter for further discussion. So they're doing analysis on multiple options that are in that area. And we'll certainly be talking with you some more once we understand more about the pros and cons of each of those options. And likewise, to an extent, the community, I think if we feel that we have to move away from what appears to be a pretty strong feeling that certainly you and I have understood, Councillor Henderson, is as close as possible to Parker and Barker intersection.
Thanks for that, CEO. Any other councillors have questions for the CEO? Okay, thanks for that. We'll move along. Notice of motion nil. Urgent special business is nil. Item 19, confidential items. Sometimes council considers confidential matters in accordance with section 66(2)(a) of the Local Government Act 2020, which necessitates the meeting being closed to consider that confidential information. Councillors, do I have a motion, please? Councillor McClure?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'll move the motion as printed.
Thanks, Councillor McClure. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Driscoll? Any opposition? I declare the meeting closed for the public. Thank you. Ms Shepherd, can you